guys, it's Mongrel again. This stage of the sketching process, I'm going to go over clean roughs. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because I think I accidentally deleted a layer with Hani in it. All I have that I can find is this one with the blue and the red, so we'll just go off that. As I was looking it over, I really didn't like her pose at all. I thought it seemed more like she just laid over on her right-hand side and just splayed out on the floor. I just didn't really think it looked very actiony and needed some foreshortening and different types of elements. I also wanted to make some changes to Guy because I felt like his pose was too flat too. The way his arms crossed over themselves, it didn't seem very natural. Let's see if I can highlight it here. So this seemed very unnatural to me. I mean, even if I did a clean rough, I just felt like it was not very conducive to an action pose. And when I said like Hani looked like she was laying down, so like she's laying on her side here, and she just kicked that leg out and put that leg out, and put her arms out. It just, I don't know, it just didn't look like a very good action pose in my opinion. So what I did was I did some modifications, and I didn't record all of it. I recorded most of it. I'm not going to show it all. I'm going to actually show a quick uh, video of it so you guys can kind of see the process, but I'm not going to talk over the whole sketch because it would just be repetitive and mundane. So um, the what it ended up looking like when it was all said and done was this. So I cleaned up the sketch a little bit. I made the action a little bit more dramatic. See if I can start hiding some stuff so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So I changed Honey's pose. As you can tell, I put this arm up over here. Oh, changed my ink. I put this one over here, which brings the sword down to here. Okay, remember we talked about leading the eye. And then it brings it to here, over to here, up here. Hip brings it back, and then up. You start all over again. Okay? Now, some eyes might want to go over here and over here, here, or here, which is not bad because we can put background in those different places. So, let me change my color of my ink. Stands out a little bit brighter. One of the things I changed with Guy, we'll go over him first, is I changed, let's see, it's not going to be this layer actually now that I think about it. Here we go. So I changed out, hold on, my layers are weird here. This is what I get for not actually labeling layers. There we go. Okay. So I changed out how his arms were in the picture. I did some foreshortening here, and the sound of that clopping is actually my fat ass dog walking across my office on my hardwood floors. So I changed the perspective, put some foreshortening on his joint in his arms, so it actually looks like they're coming at the camera. Okay, that's what foreshortening is. Now, one of the tricks with foreshortening is, I think there's another artist here on YouTube who does the same thing. I think I actually came across a very similar process in conceptart.org when it comes to foreshortening, and that is you can do spirals when you're trying to do foreshortening. So if I was to do, we'll flip this around. So if I was to do a spiral on his arm here to make it look like it's coming to the camera, or more so, I could start it here, and then start doing spirals. Okay? So if it was just like, if you took a slinky, for instance, everybody knows what a slinky is, it's basically a spring. You take a slinky and you hold it out, stretch it out right in front of you. With no foreshortening, it would just look like this. Okay? If you put your left hand, you turn your left hand in and bring your right hand towards your face, and then you stretch it out a little bit like that, it would look like this, right? So that's basically what you do with foreshortening an arm. And if you, like what I usually do, like again, I start with shapes. That's how I feel most comfortable. But if I want to do a bicep, do it like that. Bring it up. You taper it for a wrist, and then you get the hand. Okay. So elbow goes here, roughly. And then you see you have the dimensions for a foreshortened arm. Okay? Now, I don't always use that curly Q method because I guess been doing enough. I don't really need to as much. Um, sounds like my cats are going to start. Oh, it sounds like my cats are going to start wrestling. Hold on a second. Okay, so if I wanted, this is what I usually do. So when I sketch out the foreshortened limb, I get the muscles. I mean, that's really what I bring it down to. The shapes are the muscles. Elbow. Okay. This is the tricep, or not the tricep, the forearm. Bring it in, taper it. Here's the top of the wrist. And then you bring it in for the hand. So what I do, and this helps with clothing, is I start adding little lines like this so I can get an idea of how the foreshortening is. Because, and this is something else, that's something else I learned from conceptart.org. If I was going to put it in, I mean, this outfit that they wear is like jackets. So I'm not going to do a sleeve like this, obviously, because that's not a sleeve. Now I could maybe do it like that, and have that be the bottom of the sleeve, but that's too rectangular. But with this, oops, the way this is, if I wanted to add the sleeve, I can follow these guidelines right here. Add the sleeve here. And there you go. Just so I can get an idea about the perspective. That helps a lot. Helps me a lot. If I wanted to add, like he had armbands or something, you just, or this particular outfit has a lot of straps. You can use that same thing to get the perspective, the foreshortening down. So I sketched in his arms, and then after that, where are we at here? Okay. After that, this is kind of like how his arms looked a little cleaner with the muscles. This is how I did his hands. I usually do having troubles with my layers here. I usually do, like, this is a knuckle, however you want to do it. This is another knuckle, and then the smaller knuckle. My cat's all wound up right now, so he's being all attention seeking. So you just have to ignore him. Now if you look at your own hand, the fingers, they taper up at the forefinger, so this is the pointer finger, okay? This is the middle finger. Alright. And these usually go straight in right here. It might taper to one side or the other a little bit, but usually not too much. And this is the ring finger. Then this is where it starts tapering outwards. Okay, so tapering it out towards the knuckle area, and then the pinky. Okay. And then the thumb, where if you look at the thumb usually starts over here. Thumb, I don't really usually do anything too complicated for the joint, but you can do whatever works for you. So it's the thumb. You can put it in any different perspectives as well. Maybe his hand's a little bit more closed. Put the thumb out here. Bring it over kind of like how I have it in this picture. Okay. And then add the nail. Depending on on the art style, anime doesn't usually, or manga doesn't usually include knuckle lines. Um, I do because I prefer them for style reasons, I guess. Um, but again, it's not required. I think the more like the action manga, I think keeps them in there, but like the shoujos or the what's it called, the pretty boy mangas and stuff, I don't think they do. Um, so you can get more and more detail, like American comics. They do a lot of tendons and veins and stuff, and hands for a more intense look. And that's fine. I mean, that's I depending on, I think I've done that for Markiplier's picture. I try to make it look a little bit more intense, like an American comic. And you know, it's since I do a lot of fan art, I try to make it as close to the original as I can possibly, that I can stand, in a sense. Um, but it's up to you. So, okay, that is how I did a hand in this particular case. So from there, oh gosh, hold on a second. So, funny story, I have a new kitten. I got her about a month ago. She's a rescue. I actually found her in my backyard with a can stuck on her head. So she's not, of course, not exactly the brightest bulb in the night, in the box. But um, my 16-year-old house cat, he's used to being the only child when it comes to cats, and so he's has a lot of growing pains with having this new kitten that wants to play and chase him around. So he gets kind of fussy. But anyway, let's see where I was talking about. So we have with Hani in this case, I did a lot of different things. I sketched a lot of different poses to try to figure out what I liked. In this particular case, this was the rough that I felt was the most complimentary towards a guy's pose. And because you want to have the whole, if you divide it into nines, into 9 by 9, whatever, or 3 by 3, 9 squares, you want to have the most interesting things here. Okay. Well, if you look, it's not exactly that way in this rough. That's one of the reasons why I move things around in the clean sketches. So, it's funny. So we got boobs right here. Yes, yes, very fascinating. No, I'm just joking. Um, but this is kind of where the eye can start, right here. This is where we start telling the eye where to go. Okay? And then here is the two swords cross roughly in this direction. Okay? Bring down to here. Leads your eye back over here. Over to here maybe, Follow the sword up. Keeps going. Okay? So, I like this layout a lot more. I think there's some things I might, I kind of wish was a little bit better. I think when I did the line art, which is the next step, I might make Hani's shoulder a little bit bigger. Maybe bring it forward a little bit, up a little bit more. Because this is the biggest part. This is the closest part of her that's to the camera right here. That's the foreshortening. And then her elbow comes out, or her hand comes out, grabs the sword, and has it basically sticking behind her. Okay? And then with Guy, I felt like him being in this very triangle pose was a little before. And there he goes again. Hang on a second. Okay, so we'll see how long this lasts. Alright. So I felt his pose was very triangular before this particular pose. Yeah, it was very, very triangular. Wasn't very interesting. It could have been better, I thought. So what I did was I turned his waist. I turned it a little over to the side. So his legs, this comes a little bit more as a curving arc. This curves a little bit more, and it flows a little bit better. Seems a little bit more action-y. That's a good word there. So this is more of a trapezoid or whatever. And it brings his arms out, forward. This arm is more at the camera. So I feel like turning his body his lower half was a better, more fluid, less stiff change to the pose. And I like that a lot more. Let's see, what else did I do? The swords actually go off the camera, off the picture, which is fine. I mean, people probably know what the swords look like, and they're not fancy or anything like that, so it's not really all that important that people see what the very end of the blade looks like, besides they'd see it here anyway. So what else I did in the clean rough was I added a background, or at least a rough sketch of a background. So I added these right here are the buildings in the background. This is one building, and this is another building. Okay. This is a roof, basically, and this is another roof. It's very rough now because I don't actually know what the buildings look like in this world, so I need to do some research on that. Okay, and then I'd probably add windows to it. Bring that down, yeah. So, you get the idea. These are buildings. So this shows that they are in air. They're flying through the air. I hid their lines for their cables. I haven't added their, I don't know, the things that the cables shoot out of. I don't have a clue what they're called. And then the cords that attach to the end of the sword. I'm going to assume that's probably so they can control these cables and can shoot them and everything like that. I'm going to assume. Again, I don't know for sure. Here's guys' cables, and then these are, yeah, there we go. So it does look kind of busy now, but that's because I don't have all the stuff hidden. I don't have it all cleaned up like it will be whenever the line art is done. Something else I decided to add in the background, since it would be pretty dull just having that, was I added a Titan. Now, I don't know if you can see him or not, but basically it's a very rough sketch of a Titan. And he's reaching through the buildings. This is one finger here, another finger, boom, boom, boom. His mouth's open. I don't really know what the Titans look like, so I'm going to need to look that up as well. I think what I might actually do is make the Titan look like Kakashi or Hidama or something from my fan fiction, or I haven't decided yet. I might make him look like Orochimaru or what have you. And there he goes again. So, uh, so I'm gonna he's got a Sharingan right now, but I really do think I want to make this Titan have a Sharingan because I think that would just be absolutely hilarious. This right here, this thing right here is the good old-fashioned anime smoke that I will be adding. It's just very rough, but I really actually like to draw smoke because it actually looks pretty cool. It adds a lot of, it's so simple, but it adds a lot of, to the background. I want to say flavor, but that doesn't seem right. But it adds a lot to it, and it takes like 5 minutes to do it so amazingly fast and easy. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm actually going to just add or play the quick video for me sketching out Hani in the redesign pose, in the different pose, and just let you guys view that. And then from that point, the next video is probably going to be me doing the line art, and I will probably do that one in the speed video as well, because again, it's just minute lines and thicknesses, and it's utter boring. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the short clip after it. Thanks. Bye. Okay, I'm sure you're catching on here. Let's give it a little bit more of a backside teardrop. You know what I'm saying.